Don't touch
2,
Okay.
1.
We're live. We're live.
Say hi, Sandy.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
This is
everybody.
This is Forbes and Sienna. Forbes here, Sienna there.
Yeah, over there. Sienna's right
Say hi,
there.
Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Oh.
Oh.
Hi, Mr. Ed.
Hi, Richard.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi. I love you.
I love you.
I love
The one that said
Bye-bye.
that was right
Look,
there.
Steve. Here she comes. Oh, watch out. Oh, sorry.
Bye, guys.
I'm sorry.
Bye.
There you go.
Okay.
Is that
Thanks
good?
for joining us, Forbes.
Bye,
say bye to the audience.
everybody.
Wave bye.
You okay? Oh, I knocked off her both
They're
her
going
ears.
over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
You want to see Pip here? All right, everybody. Looks like I've got control for a moment
Hey, Forbes?
here. Oh, this is going to be
Can you
great.
close the door?
Oh.
Okay, time to go out.
Okie dokie, everybody.
Everybody
Maybe
go
I
out.
will take
Time to go
some
out.
roll call here.
Got it.
We have Kevin and Bruce and Frank and Mike and Jill and Mr. Ed and John and Sandy and Steve and Zoe. When has Podfeed ever had
Alright.
control? Maybe we should start really quick.
Yeah, because we may not last.
Yeah, let me do a
Something
little
may
bit of
explode.
playback.
All right.
Oh, he did. Forbes did a good job of counting down for the show. He could have been a launch controller for NASA. All right. Let me. I'm gonna do just playback. Tell me if you guys can hear the music. Yep. Okay. Good. All right. We are gonna get started. Boy, I've got the screen resolution really low so I can get everything on screen. Let's see. Let's see how I do. I can read it, just barely. All right. Here. Oh, toast. Here's my giant beer.
The 7-ounce Coronita.
Yeah. Oh, I need
Take
to
it slow
mute,
with that.
I need to mute Discord. There you go. I've seen it twice. Yeah, this is Ed's wife Jan's favorite drink. I'm filled to the gills. All right. Okay, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with the ever so slight... I didn't say it right. Hi, okay. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, and this is show number 1037. Well, we're down at Lindsay and Nolan's house right now and watching their kids while they're off on a 10-year anniversary little vacation in Costa Rica. You might notice a little difference to my audio as a result. I'm actually using an Audio-Technica 2100X, I think it's called these days. It's a mic I've had before. I had a real old one, and I decided it just simplifies everything for the road. So I'm just using it through USB-C, and I think it sounds okay. It's not quite the high LPR 40, but it'll do in a pinch. Okay. Kevin's probably going to ask me to save. All right, I think it went on long enough there. I can give us a chapter mark. No, yeah, chapter mark, but not bumper music. Ooh, I heard you pop in.
Yeah, that's
you use
the mute button.
Yeah.
The
You
shirt
can
has
use-
a mute. How about
you
the
can
mic
use-
if I do that?
Oh, that's really loud. You can use sound source in the menu bar to do it. Watch. I'm going to mute me. Talking.
That's harder
Can't
to
do
get
it.
to for me.
It is. It's a pain.
Yeah.
It's fine as long as you don't do it. Doesn't even matter, actually, Steve. Just enjoy yourself. All right. Oh, listener Lynn's here. Hi, Lynn. Okay. In our previous installment of Programming by Stealth, Bart taught us how to install Ruby, install Bundler, install gems, and then build a very simple website using Jekyll as our static site generator, and had that website actually show up in GitHub. In this most recent installment of our Jekyll mini-series, Bart explains Jekyll's build process, which is mostly automated by how you name things and the content of the files you create, like adding YAML front matter. Then we spend some quality time bemoaning how the Jekyll developer reused the word assets to mean two different things. Bart avoids some of the associated confusion by creating some naming conventions of our own. We get to do a worked example where we learn a little bit about pages in Jekyll and do a few things the hard way that we'll redo the easy way in the upcoming installments. If you're following along real time, note we will not be recording another episode of Programming by Stealth for 6 weeks because of a birthday celebration for actually on both sides of the pond, and my trip to Japan. But, of course, you can find Programming by Stealth number 178 at a link in the show notes, or in your podcatcher of choice, or over at Bart B. It's not Bart B. Or in your podcatcher of choice. Or in your podcatcher of choice, or of course at pbs.bartificer.net. All right. I'm gonna.
Hey, I noticed Tom is in Japan.
Yeah.
Is he going to overlap with us?
Mm-mm.
Or does he come back before we leave?
I think we just miss each other because he just got there yesterday or the day before.
Right. I didn't know when he was returning.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 weeks? Okay, yeah. That'll be just.
Yeah,
we're just
going to
miss
2 weeks.
Returns on April 4th. Yeah, we go out the 7th. Shoot. I would have liked to
so
see
close.
him
We could have had a beer in Japan. All right, I'm going to keep
sushi.
recording, Steve.
No.
Our first CES interview this week is going to be from the giant show floor. As is often the case, the person staffing the booth was reticent to do an interview as she'd never done one before. It's not like being at the press events. Those people are ready to be recorded and interviewed in lots of ways. You might want to go watch the video of this next one, as it's a giant piece of equipment that's pretty dramatic to see. All right. Can you do you have a screenshot or anything of that, Steve? Oh, I guess it's in the picture there. This thing was massive. It was so cool.
What that doesn't show is scale. Let me get a photo for scale.
Yeah, with us in the picture.
Right. I don't know if both of us are in, but at least the one of us is.
Or me and her.
Well, yeah, somebody. That was the 7th, I think. Yeah, I'll find it while you're working.
Okay, good. All right, let me listen to this. Pretty dramatic to see. We are possibly interviewing someone about we're definitely interviewing them, but we're interviewing them about possibly the largest piece of equipment I've seen here. We are looking at a giant underwater remote-controlled construction equipment, piece of equipment. And I'm here with Madeline Pierce, who's going to tell us a little bit about it. So what was the problem that this was designed to solve?
So this helps with underwater dredging.
Yeah, look at that thing. Look at how big that is, Steve. It's like, how did they even get that into CES, right? Pretty fun. All right. Let's see. Just come on. There we go.
Oh, this is the funny one.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
This is a funny story.
All right. I might make a little chapter mark for Cavisa Mix-Up. Before I play the next set of come on. Wait, that's weird. I didn't want it to do that. It was deleting my chapter marks, not when I did undo. It's just the thing I just recorded. Okay, here we go. Before I play the next set of CES interviews, I got to tell you a funny story. I've mentioned that we get most of the interviews during 3 press events: CES Unveiled, PepCom, and Showstoppers. These events are held in hotel ballrooms, and we usually hang out with Dave Hamilton, Chuck Joyner, Pilot Pete, and Norbert Frasa before and after the events. I think it was on the 3rd day when we went to Showstoppers that for some reason we weren't with our merry gang. So Steve and I were on our own to navigate to the hotel and find the room. Some of the events require you to pick up a badge before entering, so we weren't surprised when there was a table to do just that. Oddly, the woman helping us said she didn't see our names. She wasn't perturbed and just printed us badges anyway. We went into the conference room and started doing our usual wandering of the aisles for vendors. Not quite what I wanted to say. We went into the ballroom and started our usual wandering of the aisles of vendors, searching for interesting products to learn about. The first one of those interviews you're going to hear is with Plug P2P. Now, Steve found this booth and was very excited to have me chat with the founders about an innovative solution for EV charging. After we interviewed them, we found a few more interesting products and we did more interviews. But we started noticing a couple of strange things. First of all, they were all about the automotive industry. Secondly, they were all talking about Michigan. We even found a booth up front with a giant map of Michigan on the wall. We went to talk to the woman staffing the booth, and being from Michigan myself, we had a nice chat. I learned from her that her organization is trying to get more businesses to invest in the state of Michigan, specifically in transportation. So, okay, that explains why the heavier than expected automotive angle this year. Well, finally, after the 4th interview, I noticed that every person I'd interviewed had used a word I didn't recognize, and the word was Covisa. I asked the last person, "What the heck is this word? Well, I keep hearing people say Covisa. What does that mean?" He gave me kind of a blank stare of confusion and said, Covisa's the sponsor of this event? Wait, I got to not stutter on the punchline. Covisa's... He gave me kind of a blank stare of confusion and said, Covisa is the sponsor of this event? We weren't at Showstoppers at all. We'd gone into the wrong room. This also explains why I hadn't seen any of our usual gang, or Tom Merritt and Rob Dunwood, who were also there, and the rest of the DTNS crew, who should have been in the room. We usually run into them as we're wandering around. Now, we think the funniest part is that we got some really cool interviews out of it, and then we went to Showstoppers for the rest of the night. With that, let's learn all about Plug P2P.
It also explained why they didn't have our badges.
Yeah, I guess I could have said that too, right? Oh God, it was so embarrassing.
It did have a different feel, and it was smaller than I'm used to seeing for Showstoppers. It wasn't well lit either. 2 of the darkest interviews of the by dark I mean the lighting.
Yeah, that was so funny. Oh, well, what are you going to do? The Plug P2P is probably the best one.
Yeah, in terms of the 2, I think we only did 2 that
really?
I captured here. Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
I think we may have
4.
done others, but we only kept 2 or airing 2. One of them, I think, was bad enough we didn't keep it.
Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't.
Did
Well,
you
we
say
kept the
4?
motor one, which I didn't think was that great. Are you sure? Oh, well.
Am I sure?
Let somebody come back and say I counted wrong. P2P. We're big fans of electric vehicles, and we really believe in being able to charge anywhere. And one of the problems to be solved is, what if you're, I don't know, going to a ball game or something? That's it. That's all you get.
Wow,
we only got
stingy tonight.
I got to record. Oh yeah, I could have played more. Are you sure it's only 2?
Well,
because now I'm gonna let's bring up the error table.
Right.
I gotta go to grid view. So did you set it up by? Is there a column for what event? Yeah.
Yes.
So if I go down to Covisa, it's only 2. We did really? Were there someone worse than Motor?
Well, we spoke to, I think, one of the organizers. I don't know if we recorded that or not.
When we talked to the woman from Michigan.
Right. I think we were trying to figure out what was going on. That may have been when we figured out the Covisa thing.
No, it was when we were talking to the motor guy.
Was it? All right.
I said finally after the fourth interview. Maybe I'll go back and change that to say eventually.
All right.
Okay, so this is going to mess things up. Let's see, it's got to be probably around here. This also explains why I hadn't seen it. He gave me kind of a blank. Okay. I asked the last person. But we started noticing a couple of strange things. First of all, they were all about the automotive industry. Secondly, they were all talking about Michigan. We even found a booth up front with a giant map of Michigan on the wall. We went to talk to the woman staffing the booth, and being from Michigan myself, we had a nice chat. I learned from her that her organization is trying to get more businesses to invest in the state of Michigan. Okay, we found a few more interesting products.
The other thing you could add is that's probably also why we didn't have badges.
Okay, that explains why the heavier than expected automotive angle this year. Well, finally, after the fourth interview, let's see. Finally, after about the fourth different booth that we chatted with people, after the fourth interview, chatted with people, I know angle this year. Finally, after about the fourth different booth that we chatted with people, I noticed that every person I'd interviewed had used a word I didn't recognize, and the word was Covisa. Do this. Finally, after the fourth person I talked to, I noticed that every person that we'd been talking to had used a word I didn't recognize. The word was Covisa. I asked the last person, what the heck is this word? Well, I keep hearing people say Covisa. What does that mean? He gave me kind of a... All right. With that, let's learn all. Now, we think the funniest part is that we got some really cool interviews out of it, and then we went to Showstoppers for the rest of the night. All right. Well, this will waste a bunch of time. This also explains why the woman out front didn't have badges for us. We actually got two really good interviews that you're going to hear tonight, and then we went on to Showstoppers for the rest of the evening. Now, we think the funniest part is the rest of the night. With that, okay, I sure hope I chopped that up correctly. Now let's get that to plug P2P. Okay, that wasted enough time, Steve. Maybe I should play that segment and see how it comes out. All right. Trying to get more businesses to invest in the state of Michigan, specifically in transportation. So, okay, that explains why the heavier than expected automotive angle this year. Finally, after the fourth person I talked to, I noticed that every person that we'd been talking to had used a word I didn't recognize. The word was Covisa. I asked the last person, what the heck is this word? Well, I keep hearing people say Covisa. What does that mean? He gave me kind of a blank stare of confusion and said, Covisa is the sponsor of this event? We weren't at Showstoppers at all. We'd gone into the wrong room. This also explains why I hadn't seen any of our usual gang, or Tom Merritt and Rob Dunwood, who were also there, and the rest of the DTNS crew, who should have been in the room. We usually run into them as we're wandering around. This also explains why the women out front didn't have badges for us. We actually got 2 really good interviews that you're going to hear tonight, and then we went on to Showstoppers for the rest of the evening. With that, let's learn all about Plug P2P. All right. We're big fans of electric vehicles, and we really believe in being able... Whew. There, are you happy?
Yes. I can clap my hands. Because I know it.
If you show it. All right. Well, the kids haven't yelled at us yet.
So far, so good, but we got to keep moving.
Don't jinx it. Who knows what could go wrong? Let's see. What did I do over here? I initiated some weird GIF thing happening. There we go. Yep, we let him play Minecraft, and that usually keeps him busy for a while.
At the danger of our bandwidth getting sapped.
Yeah, so this is the first time in a long time that I've done, that I've used my big girl computer. And it appears to be doing well. I've been trying to use the MacBook Air.
Right as you said that, there was stuttering. I hadn't seen it
Was there
before.
really?
Yeah, just at that moment, but it's fine.
Oh, no.
It's
All
fine.
right. Here we go. All right, this could be a long one. Here we go. Oh, you guys. Why haven't you noticed that I didn't put any bumpers in? All right.
Al, I didn't see any bumpers.
Thank you, dear. Okay, so I got to move all these out. I hope that... Oh, I hate it when I have to move tracks. Yeah, that worked. Wait. Okay, where's my bumper? What? Yeah, that one? Pretty dramatic to see. Yeah, you're a big help, Kevin. You and Steve. We are possibly interviewing... I might move that just in a little bit more. We are possibly interviewing... Okay, Covisa mix-up. Ugh. And the chapter marks don't move when you do the slide of everything. I'm going to give that a bumper because it's funny. And let's bring you over about there. Oh, Sutter's here. Hi, Sutter. Before I play the next set of CES interviews, I got to tell you. Okay, plug P2P, which is down the wrong place. And actually, put it back here. All right. Slide you out a little bit and put the bumper back in. Can't believe you guys didn't remind me of the bumpers. I thought it was kind of an abrupt jump into it, you know? I hear screaming from the family room. Kevin, could you go find out why Sienna's crying?
I might take a quick break.
We're big fans
here.
of electric vehicles. All right. Thank you, dear. Poor Forbes. Steve told him, okay, you're the adult in the room. Come on, Forbes is 8. All right. It could be something as simple as he didn't do something right in Minecraft. Like he stepped on one of her creatures or something. You never know. The transgressions are constant. Okay. Save. When Bart and I hatched our plan for him to teach me and the audience how to program, he called it Come on. How hard is this? When Bart and I hatched our plan for him to teach me and the audience how to program, he called it programming by stealth for a very specific reason. His plan was to sneak up on us by teaching us a single language first, and then when we weren't noticing, keep adding to our toolkit until we turned around one day and realized we were developers. He started with simple HTML to create web pages, then some CSS to style our web pages. But what fun is a web page without some JavaScript to make it do things? Over the years, Bart has continued to build on the lessons learned from before while introducing new concepts and new languages to us. He isn't teaching us languages. He's teaching us how to think like developers. He's teaching us that powerful tools are within our reach. He's teaching us how to learn. Long before programming by stealth was a twinkle in our eyes, I remember people raving about how fun it was to automate things. I wanted to be one of the cool kids who did that, but for the life of me, I couldn't think of anything I needed automated. Now I feel like everywhere I look, there's some tedious task to be eliminated and improved. It's like I got a pair of glasses that let me see what was there all along. Now, while I've accomplished some complicated things that make me quite proud, sometimes it's the little things that just make me feel just all warm and fuzzy. Let me give you a tiny but beloved example. Beloved, not beloved. Let me give you teaching us how to fish. There you go. Let me give you a tiny but lovely example. Creating video tutorials for screencasts online is a lot of work, and the software we use to record, edit, and produce the videos, ScreenFlow, is a bit twitchy and unreliable at times. To combat the fear of losing all of my work, I store my ScreenFlow... I'm just stumbling. To combat the fear of losing all my work, I store my ScreenFlow file locally, and every time I finish a chunk of work on it, maybe it might be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes worth of work, I make a copy of that file to a folder in Dropbox. Since I'm creating multiple files of the same name, I need to differentiate them. For a long time, I manually appended the date and time to the end of the file's name. For example, let's say I'm working on a tutorial for Audacity, the one I just finished, and I make a copy of the file at 4:55 p.m. on March 15th. I would change the name to Audacity 2025-03-15, then 1655.screenflow. A few years ago, as my automation chops were heating up, I decided to automate it a bit by using a text expander snippet. In Text Expander, there's a little calendar icon and a clock icon. Each of those will place little tokens that will automatically insert the date and time. Under the calendar, you can drop in the year in, say, YYYY format, another one for the month in MM, and the day as DD. I chose to put dashes between them to make it look nice. The clock does the same kind of thing with hour, minute, and second. My saves are far enough apart that the seconds aren't important, so my appended text is just HHMM. With this fancy text expander snippet, I can make a copy of the Audacity file in Dropbox, hit enter to select the text of the file name, command right arrow to get to the end of the name, hit the space bar, and then type my text expander abbreviation to append the date and time. I was quite pleased with my new automation. I went happily along with that solution for years, but just last week I started wondering, is there a way to do it even more automatically? Hazel from Noodlesoft is a fantastic app whose job is to watch folders and then take action on those files when they arrive in those folders. I've been automating things with Hazel for ages, but for some reason, it just hadn't occurred to me to use it for this automation. Something about the way Bart has been layering tool after tool on the Programming by Stealth audience just kind of starts your brain working differently. Hazel has a couple of ways I could automate my appended date and time to my copied ScreenFlow files. For both methods, you start by telling Hazel, which folder do you want to watch? Then you add rules to the folder and you name them. I called my rule add date. I know, I'm inventive that way. All right, next you tell Hazel the conditions under which it should apply the rule. For this tutorial, my main file will simply be called audacity.screenflow. So my condition is to simply be that it only apply the rule to files of that exact name. Now, I can't have it look generically for any files ending in, say, .screenflow, because the copies that are renamed with that date will also end in .screenflow. Hazel would just keep appending the date and time indefinitely to all files. I'll have to change this condition for the next tutorial I create, and perhaps there might be a way to automate even that step, but changing it once for every 2-week project is not onerous. Now that we've taught Hazel how to recognize the file to rename, we need to tell Hazel how to append the date and time under the heading, do the following to the match file or folder. Hazel has built-in tokens for just this purpose that are very similar to what you see in TextExpander. There's a drop-down I changed to rename, and that it offers with pattern. To the right, it automatically drops in 2 tokens, name and extension. With that default, it would rename it with the same name and the same extension. Clicking into this area pops up a window where you can add all kinds of other tokens. For my needs, I wanted the date added token, and from there, I can use the edit pattern option to the token to define exactly how I want to define the date and time to look. It's really easy. Now, I'm going to make a little confession. I didn't use this easy drag and drop interface of Hazel with its little tokens. I was busy working on my video tutorial, so I outsourced the solution to my assistant, Claude.ai. Claude suggested I use Hazel's ability to run a script instead and offered me an Apple script to perform the same function. I've had experience with Apple script, enough of it to understand what Claude wrote for me, so I felt confident it wasn't going to do any damage if it made a mistake. Claude adds comments for each function, making it pretty easy to understand what it's doing. Now, I'm not going to go through the script it wrote, but I put the full text of the script into the show notes if you're interested. Now, I know this is an itty-bitty automation created with a simple drag-and-drop interface or a 6-line Apple script if you're fancy, but every single time it renamed my file when I copied it into Dropbox, I smiled. You simply can't buy that kind of joy. Now, another fun automation I did recently involved using my Stream Deck for audio editing. I'll take a break and clear my throat. All right, good. We're talking sports ball. Save. Okay. For audio editing. I don't do a lot of fancy stuff with my Stream Deck, but I've programmed a few buttons that I use all the time. My favorite one is to switch from headphones to speakers for audio playback. Oh. A lot of podcasters heavily edit their audio, but I don't really do that, partly because I find it dreadfully boring and time-consuming. If I've just done an hour-long interview with someone, the last thing I want to do is go back and listen to it again, but more slowly. The other reason I don't do it is because most of my guests are clear and concise speakers who don't fumble for words. Bart is a great example. Off the cuff, he rarely makes any kind of a mistake or an or an If anyone makes ums and uhs, it's usually me. When I'm recording solo segments, I start and stop when I flub up, and I just delete the flub and jump back in. I find that much easier than trying to splice out mistakes. But a while back, I had Pat Dengler on the show, and afterwards, she was kind of sad. She was disappointed because she could hear how many ums and ahs she said. That sounds, I slur my words. I swear, I've had half a Coronita. Let's see. But a while back, I had... But a while back, I had Pat Dengler on the show, and afterwards, she was kind of sad. She was disappointed in how many ums and uhs she did. I decided to make her happy and remove as many as I could from the recording. In ScreenFlow, I have segments of me talking where it's not practical to stop and edit along the way as I do for the podcast, so in ScreenFlow, I do have to edit after the fact. But Don McAllister wrote a series of Keyboard Maestro macros that gives us keystrokes for editing. They're simply marvelous. My favorite one lets you select a region of the recording, and in one keystroke, it cuts, rewinds a smidge, and then plays. It's so fast to let you know whether you've done a good job on the cut, or maybe cut a word off too soon or too late. When I started editing my recording with Pat using my audio software Hindenburg, I really, truly missed Don McAllister's Keyboard Maestro macros. I'd drag across an in the waveform with my cursor, move my hands to the keyboard, hit Command X to cut the region, move my hand back to the trackpad, click to place the cursor where I wanted to start playing, move my hands back to the keyboard, and hit the space bar to play. The tedium was overwhelming. Now, Bart has often talked about how the best programming is when you're scratching your own itch. This one itched real bad. But he has also instilled in us the faith in ourselves that we can probably automate our way out of the most annoying things that we're facing. You've heard me refer to Hindenburg about 358 times over the past years, but you'll notice I've never explained much about how it works or recorded a tutorial for Screencasts Online about it. That's because much of it is still mysterious to me, and I've never taken the time to buckle down and learn the whole darn thing. The good news is I pointed Jill from the Northwoods to Hindenburg early on in her podcasting journey, and she watched all of their videos, read all of the manuals, so when I get stuck, I just ask her questions about Hindenburg. Actually... And she watched all of their videos and just consumed every bit she could to try to learn everything about Hindenburg. So now when I get stuck, I just ask her questions about Hindenburg. It's way easier than learning it yourself. Now my goal at this point was to replicate what I have over in ScreenFlow with Don's Keyboard Maestro macro. I wanted a single action to cut, rewind, and play. Cut is easy with Command X, but that rewind and play part was going to take some sleuthing. While Hindenburg is a highly complex and capable tool, I found out that much of its capability is hidden, so you have to know it's there and know what it's called in order to even search for it in the very annoying documentation. While preferences for Hindenburg are very meager, with only 3 tabs, on the middle tab called Interface, I found a setting called Pre-Roll Time in milliseconds, and it was set to 3000. Well, that kind of smelled like what I was looking for, like backup 3 seconds. Now, full 3 seconds rewind is way more than I would want, so I set it to 1000 for 1 second. Okay, that's great. But how do I make pre-roll go? This is a setting for how long, but how do I make it pre-roll? I flipped through every single menu in the menu bar, and there was absolutely no mention of this mythical pre-roll. One of the reasons Hindenburg is so difficult to learn is that there is no user manual to speak of. Instead, they have little video guides with no words, just music playing while they show you something. I like a video tutorial as much as the next woman, but they're really hard to search. I eventually found the right video, and after all that searching for how to activate pre-roll, they typed in text on top of the video the letter P. Well, geez, that could have been a menu bar item, couldn't it? Well, armed with how to cut with Command X and how to pre-roll with P to hear the audio after the cut, I added a multi-action button to my Stream Deck. I named it Cut plus Pre-Roll because I'm inventive, as we've already mentioned in this episode. I dragged in 2 system hotkeys, one for Command X and one for the letter P. I tested the button, and it worked perfectly to cut and pre-roll my audio. I was so enchanted with the new button that I made another button, just a single action button for play pause, where the hotkey is just the spacebar. That might seem like a trivial button since the spacebar is pretty easy to use, but I found I could do my editing with my left hand on the Stream Deck and my right hand on the trackpad doing the selecting. It was easier to use my left hand to play pause than to give my right hand 2 different things to do. I was so excited about this itty-bitty little automation that I made a little video to show you that is, of course, in the show notes. In the video, my button has a generic icon, but I got frisky while writing up my joy about this automation for you, and I decided to make my own button. Stream Deck has a little web app that lets you make them for yourself, or you can choose from their library, but I wanted my own. I didn't see anything that inspired me in the library of icons, so I used the Noun project to find a nice icon of a pair of scissors and the letter P. In the Noun project that I've talked about before, you can choose a color for them, for the icon that you've chosen, and I chose to make them red. I plopped them into the web app, and I made my little button icon. So it's basically just a pair of scissors and the letter P. Well, I got to tell you, this made me so happy. I didn't hate cutting all of the ums and uhs that Pat said. And while I was there, I get rid of all of mine. And I think I might have done more than she did. Again, it's the automation giving me joy that I really want to get across to you. Here's my last example. Back in 2016, I wrote an article about how I created a little app for myself to add drop shadows. Back in 2016. Oh, am I missing anything? You like my little icons? Frisky, it's a family show. I take it the kids survived Steve going in there. Everclear. You remember the Great Martini incident, don't you?
They survived.
It was a horrible transgression. Here's my last example. Back in 2016, I wrote an article about a little app I wrote for myself to add drop shadows to my images for the blog post. If you look back on my post from back then, the images look pretty fuzzy, but they do have a nice drop shadow. Since then, Helma helped me add some CSS code, that's cascading style sheets, to my theme so that any image I upload has a drop shadow. And with Mars Edit, I can tell it to double the resolution, so that's why all of the images now look really crisp. I bring all this up because I got a comment on my article from 2016 just a week or so ago. The person's name is Scott, and he was asking for help getting my little drop shadow app to work. This required some real dusting off of the old brain cells as I reread my own post on how I created it. There's an open source library called Image Magic with a K that does most of the work on the command line, but I used Automator to package the Image Magic script into an app. I explained how to build this yourself, but I also gave a download of my Automator app. Scott was getting an error when he ran the download, and he posted the error. Now, if you ask me what I did last week, I pretty much can't tell you. I could definitely not tell you what I talked about on the podcast last week, so the chance I'd be able to remember what I did 9 years ago was pretty slim. If it weren't for Bart instilling this love of coding, that itch Scott put in my brain to figure out would have gone unscratched. Instead, I spent a short bit of time asking Claude what Scott's error was trying to tell us, and a long bit of time writing an addendum to my article, and enhancing my app quite a bit. The easy answer was that Scott hadn't selected a file before asking the app to add the drop shadow. Now, the long answer is that it was never going to work under macOS Sequoia because of a permission dance he would need to do to use it. Oh, and if you're on Apple Silicon, my shell script inside Automator wouldn't work either. I only knew that because I discovered a while back on another coding project that Home moved where it installs apps with the switch to Apple Silicon. As I worked through the writing up the addendum instructions, I was very frustrated that I hadn't put in a full screenshot of Automator app into the show notes, so I was kind of guessing at parts of it. Since 2016, I've discovered both Shotter and CleanShot X, which will take scroll screenshots. So I was able to use one of them to add the entire Automator screenshot in all its glory to the addendum. That way, if somebody didn't want to download and run an app from a clearly unidentified developer, they could rebuild it themselves. Now, after I added the 2025 update to the article, I was very proud of myself, and I commented on the blog post to alert Scott that I'd answered his questions. And wouldn't you know it, after thanking me quite profusely, he asked for an enhancement to the app. Since he'd hit a brick wall when he tried double-clicking on the downloaded app, he asked whether I could make it politely ask for a file instead of throwing in an incomprehensible error. Well, that sounded like fun, right? I didn't go as far as Scott asked, mostly because I got lazy, but I think I addressed the spirit of his request. Now, if you double-click on the app, instead of throwing an incomprehensible error, it simply tells you to drag a file onto the app for it to add a drop shadow. I had a lot of fun dusting off this 9-year-old project, and it made me feel good that Scott was getting value out of it. If you'd like to try my little drop shadow app for yourself, you can download it with its README file at the link in the show notes. Now, back to the point of the story. Before Bart and I started programming by stealth in October of 2015, I was simply someone who wished they could think up something to automate. After nearly a decade of Bart giving us this slow and steady instruction in so many languages, tools, and concepts, everywhere I look, I see opportunities to automate. While I'm working on these automations, and when I succeed, I feel really good. I feel accomplished. I feel powerful. I have all the feels.
Well, we are now seeing video breakup and poor quality and audio breakup.
So, it's not the fault of my little MacBook Air, huh?
I don't think so. I think it may be, I don't know if the kids changed their bandwidth use. Minecraft, right?
Bruce is suggesting Minecraft.
Right, but they've been playing all along. And for me, it just started happening maybe 5 minutes ago. So I don't know what changed. And maybe they hit a tough spot in Minecraft. Maybe they changed games and a lot of bandwidth was required.
Bad audio, too.
Yeah, both audio and video was breaking up.
Okay, is it better now that I've stopped recording? Because I think we've seen a correlation.
It is. Hold on. No, you just paused. So no.
Well, I did help them lower their bandwidth because the cost just kept going up. These jerks at Cox. And
because their bandwidth or their capped data cap?
Yeah. Well, it's not just capped. Actually, suppose we hit the limit of their.
It's only the 23rd of the month. If they do it at month end, we got a problem.
Yeah. Maybe we should pay for the Delta to put them back up to where they were.
Really? Yeah.
Because when we come to the house, they run out of data, and they have to buy more buckets of it.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why.
It's inexplicable. All right, let's see. I'm going to do some motor.
Oh, this is the second of the two Covesa interviews.
Yeah, this one's,
this one, are you going to explain anything
Brother.
about? Yeah, it's a lot of Big Brother. I'm trying to understand the motivation from a driver's perspective. Not a lot of motivation. I'm not even sure if they're really the customer here. It's really fleet
No, they're
owners,
definitely
insurance
not.
companies, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yet we were not in representing either of those. We were representing maybe drivers. So they don't have a pitch to drivers. Although he tried to make one.
Yeah. Oh, it's gamified that they're watching your every move when you're driving. Let me play this.
And it's exactly, by the way, it's exactly what Tesla already does and has been doing for years now with their Tesla insurance.
Yeah.
If you buy, not all states support this, but you can buy Tesla car insurance through the company, and they gamify your driving. And they have
I wonder
all
how the
of the
Tesla
data.
car insurance is doing.
Yeah.
Well, let me play this
All right.
drop in here. The feels. I'm in the motor booth, MOTER, with Off Waswasi, and the pitch here says, all right. Wait, haven't I been putting those on? What track have I been putting these on? I'm just randomly slapping them around different. Oh, no. No, they are on the second track. Hang on. Just because that was me. I think I want that down one. Yeah. All the feels. I'm in the motor booth, MOTER, with Off Waswasi, and... All right. Okay. Let's go get some money. Money. Support the show. Paste, paste, copy link, paste. There we go. Have you been enjoying your ad-free feed of the NosillaCast and all of the other lovely shows here at the Podfeed Podcast? You know, they may be ad-free, but they aren't cost-free. If you'd like to help us keep these shows funded, please consider becoming a patron by going to podfeed.com/Patreon. How's that for a short ad? All right, let me drop it a little.
Short and sweet.
Right? Oh.
Oh.
Nope.
Jinx, Sandy. Didn't use much bandwidth. Very economical. Nice, Bruce.
So is it still coming and going?
Yeah.
Does it matter whether let me ask this, does it matter whether I'm recording or not?
No, because right now your video is frozen. Now it just started up again, and you weren't recording.
Huh. Now you have Wi-Fi turned off, right?
Yep.
I don't think that works, does it? All right. /Patreon. Well, the delightful Adam Angst of Tidbits is back again with it. Oh no. Hang on. I accidentally erased something. That was too late. Well, the delightful Adam Angst of Tidbits is back again with us this week, and he, in the last couple of weeks, has let me help him conduct some experiments trying to find the accuracy levels of different AI's ability to do transcription. And today we're going to start by exploring his findings, but I have a feeling we're going to wander off that path as well.
Gee, are you suggesting that I don't usually stay on topic? But
I love our nonlinear conversations.
yeah, nonlinear is the way to go, man. So what happened was is when Apple introduced the audio transcription feature in Notes, I thought, well, that's a great idea. You know, why wouldn't you want to record a presentation you were at or you were listening to or something like that, and then get a transcript of it? I mean, I'm a journalist, right? Like, I need to check what people say, and not go on my memory, and so I did this, and then like the rabbit hole just started. He was like, "There's Audio Hijack. It can do transcription too." And but wait, Notes works on the Mac and the iPhone. I wonder if those are different. And then you told me about Mac Whisper, and I'm like, well, clearly I better check Mac Whisper too. And so I kind of got this idea that I could figure out the accuracy level of one of these things. This turned out to be vastly harder than I'd anticipated, because like, what is accurate, right? So what I'd been recording was Apple presentations, you know, because they're relatively clean. Like at first, like the WWDC, you know, and iPhone releases, they're clean, right? I mean,
All right, I'm going to stop right there. So, okay, he sounds joyful here, right? Just as joyful as always.
Yep.
When he came turned on his video, I about died. He knocked out his front tooth, and he broke the tooth next to it in half. He did a face plant while ice skating in Canada, and he just destroyed it. It's going to take 10 months to completely fix his teeth by the time he's done. It's just awful, because they're going to have to put an implant in, and so they have to the tooth is gone, but they have to drill in and put in a threaded mount and have apparently you have to have the cement on that cure for a long time before you can put in the real tooth. And it just and I've never understood that. How do you screw on a square tooth? I don't understand. Yeah, this whole thing, he's sitting there looking, you know, like he should be on Halloween. It was just awful. So, yeah, but he still managed to be happy. Steve, why are you frowning? You're typing away, frowning at him.
Yeah, look at John's post.
I recently had an event that was diagnosed as transient global amnesia. Oh, geez. You're just trying to beat the faceplant with the teeth knocked out story?
Yeah.
Over a year to get his
I'm heartened by your comment that it's not serious. But,
yeah.
You know. Wait,
when I first read that, I read that as Google diagnosed you as having it.
Wait, I was responding to Kevin. I'm losing you, John. So this isn't you? This is Kevin?
NASANut. NASANut said,
no,
I recently had an event.
I'm lost.
Kevin said, you erased my memory of yesterday, Podfeet, dang it. And John said, I recently had the event of transient global amnesia. Yikes. What did you forget about?
And what was the duration of the memory loss? Was it a day or an hour?
Oh, and is it still gone? Like, are you still missing?
Well, he seems to remember us. Well, I guess we're long-term memory.
No, I'm not saying there was a time where he had this.
Right. What is that time period?
We need to talk to John.
Yeah. This will be an offline conversation.
Okay, I'm going to play the end here.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Whoop. No, we don't have a marker for that last one. All right. Well, that is going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeet.com anytime you like? If you have a question or a suggestion, just send it on over. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You can follow me on Mastodon. Why is that so hard? You can follow me. You can follow me on Mastodon at podfeet.com/Mastodon. If you want to listen to the podcast on YouTube, like all the cool kids do now, you can go to podfeet.com/YouTube. If you want to join in the conversation, you can join our Slack community, which is hoppin' fun at podfeet.com/Slack. You can talk to me in there and all of the other lovely Nosilla castaways. You can support the show at podfeet.com/Patreon, as I mentioned earlier, or with a one-time donation. You can do that at podfeet.com/donate, or you can go... Sorry, I lost my diagonal there. You should see how small the font is. You can do that at podfeet.com/donate and use Apple Pay or any credit card. Or you can use podfeet.com/PayPal for one-time donations. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. If you'd been here tonight, you would have gotten to talk to my grandchildren, and I know all of you wish you'd been there. Anyway, thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. Losers, they didn't get to hear it. All right. Let's see how that goes. And stay subscribed. And stay subscribed. All right. We're getting... Yeah, we are allowed to worry.
Yeah. And don't apologize, John. That's
well, there's a
fine for
lot you
bringing
should
that up.
apologize, but not
But
for
not that. Yeah, so much to apologize for.
I mean, seriously, right? I see 8, and I added one for the Covisa mix-up. It's really 7.
I haven't been counting. Sorry. I totally lost you.
I'll apologize in advance. We must be done because I kicked this giant beer. Look how big it is. It's so big.
I count 7. Let me try again.
Yeah, I said 8, but I added one for the Covisa mix-up.
Okay.
So 7 is the right answer.
So we're good.
All right. Ooh. That doesn't look right there. Put that back where it belongs. There. All right. I am going to export the show. I am actually very, very happy about something. You know, I talked before about how I use Auphonic as my the people that do the processing of the audio that turn it into an MP3, and they do the leveling, and they do the loudness, and they send it over to YouTube, and they make the transcripts. They do all this work. And the guy that runs it, George Holtzman, I wrote to him because my downloads were really slow, like painfully slow. And I think I'd never really paid attention to the upload speed because it's just sort of like, oh, I just throw it in there and I go off and I do something. But when it's done, I want to ship the show. I'm just sitting there waiting. Steve's ringing the dinner bell, time, let's go, let's go. And so I wrote to him. I said, I don't know what happened, but, over the last few months, it's been getting really, really slow. And I'm talking like a few hundred kilobytes per second. And he kept saying, oh, yeah, nobody else is having this problem. It's probably you. You should call your ISP. I'm like, I'm not going to call my ISP. Nothing else is broken, just you. And finally, about 3 weeks ago, he wrote to me and goes, oh, other people are having the same problem. He moved everything over to Cloudflare, and now it's like, a second and a half for me to download it home. Even here, I had to download something big. What did I download? I downloaded something big, and it was really fast. So it was very, very nice. I'm really happy he fixed it for me.
With Minecraft going, it may not be that fast right now.
Oh, yeah, let's find out.
Yeah, let's see how long this takes.
Right. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for putting up with us. It's 5:58. Yes. I don't think we should subject them to the children again, do you? Unless you promised Forbes.
Nope.
Did you promise Forbes?
I didn't promise anything.
Yeah, I heard you telling him that he would get to do it. But
I don't recall that.
All right. Well, you're going to take the wrath, not me.
All right. Smart move.
All right. Well, I'm going to start this production and uploading that file. Let's see how it does. It's uploading right now. Never commit. All right, everybody. Oh, Zoe wants to see them, but you don't love them.
How much time do you have?
I'm ready.
Well, you need to make me a gin and tonic. I'll go get them if you want me to.
Yeah, everybody should leave who doesn't want to.
Yeah, now's a good
really
time.
Good. Yeah, run, save yourselves. Go get them again.
You want me to?
Next week's podcast, I'll have. Yeah, do it. I'll probably be about 15 minutes since I will have that faster computer. Oh, what did you buy, John? Yeah, Zoe, you'll notice that Forbes doesn't talk very much, but Sienna, she's going to be my podcaster. Maybe I pass on the legacy. Mike, I'm out of here. Run, Forrest, run. Oh, yeah, it is a lot slower here, but it'd be pretty quick. All right. Let me bring this up where she'll be able to see. And then I'll make Steve go build me my gin and tonic. Tell them they don't have to come. Oh, now it's turning into a whole thing. Oh. I think we're getting Forbes. Hey, Forbes.
Bye.
That's it? How's the Minecraft going?
Yeah.
Good.
Did you win your Minecraft game?
There's
no win or lose. It's just draw.
Zoe's excited that you're here. Are you playing with Lily and Thomas?
I don't know where they are.
Do you want to go?
Oh, they never showed up? It's just you and
They
Sienna?
are on their PlayStation, but they're just not
They're not playing?
not answering.
Come in, Sienna. Oh, jeez. Come in. Oh, no. She was knocking with a massaging vibrator thing. Do you want to talk to the
What?
audience? No, don't look at the light. Don't look at that. I've got a really bright LED light she's going to stare into. No, don't look at that. Come here. Do you want to talk again?
Don't look at the light.
Yep. Don't go to the light. Okay, climb on up. Okay. I want you to say hi to
Hello, Sienna.
Hi.
Are you going to say goodbye? Did you say
Hello.
bye?
Not so loud. Just say hi.
Say goodbye to the audience.
Don't play with the mic.
Bye.
Shut up. Light.
Wait.
Wow.
Okay. You're just yelling. Okay. Okay, say bye.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Account so I can have
We are-
Forbes beat me.
We are clearly done.
Yeah.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye. And stream.